Good morning. Thank you all for joining us today as we come together to honor and celebrate Veterans Day. Today is a special day when we recognize the courage, dedication, and sacrifices of the brave men and women who have served in our nation's military. Veterans are all around us. They may be our neighbors, family members, friends, and even parents or grandparents of students here in this room. At St. John's School, we believe it's important for all of us to understand and appreciate the role our veterans have played in protecting our freedoms and helping to keep our country safe. Today, we'll take some time to learn about their experiences, share the stories, and express our gratitude for their service. Let's make sure to listen carefully and participate respectfully as we honor these heroes who have done so much for all of us. Thank you for being here, and let's begin our program. The VFW Post 10187 and the Edgar American Legion Post 393 will now present the colors. Please stand. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Grades 1 through 8 will now sing the Star-Spangled Banner. Please be seated. Thank you, grades 1 through 8. Today, we are excited to recognize some outstanding young writers from St. John's Middle School who participated in the Patriots Pen Essay Contest. This year's theme, My Voice in a Democracy, challenged our students to reflect on their role and voice in shaping our nation's future. Each middle school student contributed their thoughts on this important topic, and the teachers had the difficult job of selecting the top 5 essays. Our top selections chosen by their teachers are from Cecilia Mills, Elizabeth Bergs, Lily Wozni, Maria Mills, and Jacob Haferman. Each of these students demonstrated thoughtful insight and a unique perspective in their writing, making it a tough choice to narrow down further. After careful consideration, our veterans have chosen Cecilia Mills and Elizabeth Bergs to advance to the district level of the contest. We congratulate all of our participants for their work and are proud of Cecilia and Elizabeth as they represent our school and community in this prestigious competition. Throughout the program today, you will hear essays from Lily Wozni, Elizabeth Bergs, and Cecilia Mills. We'll start with Lily.
My Voice in America's Democracy. Have you ever noticed how people can have such strong voices? Many people have a voice that has changed the world, especially people who are famous or who have an important role in this country. You have a voice too. Everyone has a voice. Some people may disagree, but everyone does have a voice. Some people use their voices for the wrong reasons or take them for granted, but you can use your voice for the right reasons. You have always had a voice. Even if you don't know how to use it, you will always still have it, no matter what. If you want to use your voice, you need to be able to take the first step to be heard. Sitting around and waiting will get you nowhere. Many great leaders in our world have stepped forward to make their voices heard. They use their voice to share their opinions or views on what is happening around them, and people listened. Some people need help to express their voice, and most times it takes more than one person to express opinions. As a result, they change many things or figure out things people have never even thought of. Everyone has a voice, even if it's answering questions in class or stating your opinion on an idea your classmate had. Your voice is important, even if it doesn't seem like it. A few ways you can use your voice is to encourage adults to vote for the right person who will bring the best outcome for our country, even if it is just an email or letter. Voting is another way to use your voice. When you vote, you are stating your opinion and communicating your preference for politics and your belief in what's best for the people of this country. Democracy is a system of government by the whole population or eligible members of a state. Typically through elected representatives, the people of this country freely vote for representatives. Democracy is often said to mean rule by people, an example of the system of government in which people vote their elected representatives into parliament. In conclusion, everyone has a voice, even if they don't know how to use it. Whether it is related to voting, school, or sharing their opinions, they will always have a voice.
Thank you, Lily. We will now have musical selections by our youngest preschoolers. So the 3K through kindergarten students can come up.
My voice in America's democracy. In America, everyone is free, but do people really feel that way? I feel that everyone in America is suffocating. Think about it. You wake up early to drop off your kids, go to your job, get the kids after a long and eventful day, come home, do chores, and possibly even more late night work. Even if this isn't your usual routine, your days are still long, tiring, and exhausting. Not only are we struggling with trying to keep up with our daily routine, but there are also so many issues in the world. With the long and tedious hours of the day, how can you feel free? What does this have to do with my voice in America's democracy? I think using my voice will help advocate for anything that anybody could be struggling with beyond the day-to-day struggles of life. One way I can be an advocate with my voice in America is by having the courage to stand up for things I know are wrong. For example, in this country, we have freedom of religion. I'm a Catholic, I have Catholic beliefs and values, and I hold them dearly, which helps me to stand up to immigration, climate change, and socialism. Another wrong is abortion. As Catholics, we respect all forms of life. A person is a person, no matter how small or young. I feel the church is sometimes targeted for beliefs, and I plan to use my voice to be an advocate for the rights of others. In conclusion, my voice in America's democracy isn't ambiguous. My voice in our country is to speak about these problems, find solutions, and be the change. I've never been the best with prayer, but this is one way I can use my voice. Not only can I be an advocate for faith, but I can also apply this dedication to helping my country and home, America.
My voice in America's democracy. As a democracy, it is we the people whose voices must be heard. We should strive to have our voices heard above all the noise and lies that call for autocracy and dictatorship. We should use our voices to protect our country and our democracy, to keep the stars and stripes flying, to protect the freedom and rights of all people. But how can we have our voices heard? How can we protect our democracy and our country? Do we really have a say? Yes, you do. We all do. It is our privilege and our right to have a say in political and national issues. One way to have your voice heard in today's democracy is to vote. Did you know that only 66% of people cast a vote in presidential elections? And in midterm elections, even less, 44%. For those who can't vote like me, you can support political candidates by posting your opinions on the election online. You can also endorse candidates by making signs for your front yard. Political candidates aren't the only thing you can have a say in. You should also use your voice in national issues and debates to ensure the country's well-being and the well-being of its citizens. Some examples include Hurricane Helene, border immigration, and abortion rights. Let's not just voice our opinions, but take action. We can help those who have suffered and lost their homes due to the hurricane by sending food and clothing. We can donate to the National Justice Center, where financial help can help reunite an immigrant family. We can participate in fundraisers that support good causes. Remember, however, we can use our voices for the better or for the worse. You should use your voice for the well-being of the people, the nation, and not to discriminate against others. I will use my voice in democracy to protect my country, to stand up for what's right, and to help others.
Thank you, Cece. As we come to the end of our program, I want to take a moment to thank everyone who joined us today. I would like to show appreciation for our 4K through 8th grade music teacher, Mrs. Bergs, who put the program together, and all the teachers who helped the students to practice. I would like to also thank the students for doing a wonderful job to honor our veterans. I want to especially honor our honored veterans of VFW Post 10187 and the American Legion Post 393. Your presence reminds us of the real meaning of courage, dedication, and sacrifice. We hope that today's program has helped each of us, especially our students, gain a deeper appreciation of your service. To all the veterans here and those watching from afar, thank you for your bravery and commitment to our country. We are grateful for everything you've done to protect our freedoms and keep us safe. Let's carry forward the lessons of Veterans Day in our hearts every day. Respect for those who serve, appreciation for our freedoms, and a sense of responsibility to contribute positively to our community. Thank you all once again. Unbeknownst to the students, especially the middle school students who chose from a deck of cards this morning, the veterans will now do a presentation on the draft. I will let Mr. Dalkey explain how the draft works. But I do know that a few students will be randomly selected. The veterans will answer any questions students or anyone in the audience may have. Everyone is welcome to stay if you like. But before they start, we're going to wrap up at some point here and head back into our classrooms and into our lives. So let's take a moment to remember both past and current veterans in our thoughts and prayers today and over the course of this week. May we carry their sacrifices and service with us, honoring them not only on Veterans Day, but every day. Thank you all for being here, and may God bless you. Have a wonderful Veterans Day.
Well, good morning, everyone. My morning was going pretty good until I lost my paperwork and my hat. So, but we adapt and overcome, and the only way to go is up. So, once again, I'd like to echo the sentiments of Mrs. Halverson and thank the teachers, the students, the staff, Mrs. Bergs, everyone for a wonderful program from the students today. You guys always do such a nice job. It's just a pleasure to come here every year for the Veterans Day program. As for the Patriots Pen Essay winners and all the students that participated in that, the judging gets harder and harder each year. There were so many excellent essays this year from the students that it was really hard to pick the top three, but the top two are going to our district judging committee at District 7 VFW, and we'll know by the end of December whether or not they'll get picked for going on to state. And one other side note, we also nominated Mrs. Halverson for VFW Teacher of the Year for 6th to 8th grade for our VFW district, so we sent a package in for her also, so good luck to her on her package. So. At this time, I'd like to have all the veterans stand and introduce themselves, the branch of service that they served in, time they served, and where they served.
I'm Philip Simonson. I served in the military for 20 years, 9 months and 2 days, but who was counting, right? I did 4.5 years active duty Marine Corps infantry, and then another 16 in the Air Force.
Ken Knick, Army, served from 1960 to 63. I was spent time in Okinawa and in Thailand.
Jerry Sonntag. I served in the Army from 65 to 67. I was in Vietnam in 66 and 67.
Bob Franz, I served in the Navy, aboard a submarine, 66 through 69. Quite an interesting time in my life. Thank you.
Name is Dennis Albertson. I was in the Army. I was drafted in 1966. I served from 66 to 68, 67 and 68 in Vietnam.
Joe Borkert. I served in the U.S. Air Force from 66 to almost 1970. I was in Montana, and I was in Vietnam for a little over a year, 68, part of 68 and 69. Thank you.
I'm Norbert Lake. I served in the United States Army from 1960 to 63. I served at turning time of the Cold War and the Cuban crisis, and I also was at a time when John F. Kennedy got killed.
Excuse my voice, Rick Schrader. I was in the Army from 1965 to 1967 and served 15 months in Korea.
I am the terrific Tammy Kirsch, and I was in the Air Force from 83 to 87, and it was in northern Texas, and then 1 year in the reserves.
My name is Jim Sonntag. My younger brother was in Nam. I was in a little before him. I'm a Cuban crisis vet. You don't see many of us around, but we were aboard ship back in '62. Joined the Marine Corps to see the world, and I didn't get out of Pendleton.
Tom Naparola. I returned from Vietnam November 11, 1969, 55 years today.
Michael Hipsch. I was in the United States Army from 1969 through 71. I served in Vietnam in 69 and 70. So have a great day.
Randall Mishka. I served from April 1983 till May 2023. Dennis Dalkey, served in the active U.S. Army from 1972 to 1976. He served at Fort Leonard, Missouri, Fort Gordon, Georgia, Bangkok, Thailand, and Fort Hood, Texas. After that, another 25 years in Wisconsin National Guard. My name is Dale Dalkey. I served in the United States Naval Reserve from 1983 to 2012. I did a year in Afghanistan from 2010 to 2011. I was 47 years old when I went to Afghanistan, and the younger kids nicknamed me Old Navy for some reason. So, but I told them my mustache was older than them, so, and it was. Okay, at this time, we're going to have our draft selection board pick our first card. We need the 2 spades. Come on up and sit on the bus. Where's the 2 spades? While I go through part of the program, I'm going to pass around a set of dog tags. These are the dog tags I wore in Afghanistan. They've got the St. Michael pendant on it, given to me by Julie Rickenbach before I left out, and my locker keys. So I'll pass them around, and they got the silencers on them. That's what the black stuff is. They're silencers. So I'll pass them around so the kids can take a look at what they have. But don't copy my social security number, and I need them back. So. Okay, first, real quick, being that it's Veterans Day, we need to ask the students if they know the history of Veterans Day. Who knows the history of Veterans Day? Boy in a red shirt over there. Say again? Hello? It was once named Armistice Day. Does anybody know the date? Okay. There was a war called the Great War, now known as World War I, and there was an armistice signed on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month in 1918 to cease fire, to end the hostilities for World War I. So that's, they would call it an armistice, and that's what actually ended the fighting in World War I. And then the Treaty of Versailles was signed in 1919 to actually officially end the war. So, but it continued as Armistice Day, celebrated every year through the 1930s, and then it actually got transformed into Veterans Day. So now we celebrate it as Veterans Day. So, at this time, we're going to get our second draftee. Where's our selection board here? Okay, does anybody know what the meaning of conscription is? The word conscription basically means the military draft. Conscription is the mandatory enlistment in a country's armed forces and is sometimes referred to as the draft. The origins of the military conscription date back thousands of years to ancient Mesopotamia, but the first modern draft occurred during the French Revolution in the 1790s. The United States instituted conscription during the Civil War, which led to a series of bloody draft riots. Resistance to the draft is managed by the Selective Service for the United States reached a historic peak during the Vietnam War. Most draftees were the Army or Marines. And since we're talking about draft, I'd like to have all of our veterans that were drafted please stand and face the audience. So out of our group today, better than a third of them, all Vietnam veterans were drafted during the wars. So, the United States has used military draft in several wars, including the American Revolution, Civil War, World War I, World War II, Korean War, and the Vietnam War. During the Revolutionary War, There were no widespread draft numbers in a modern sense, as most soldiers were Continental Army, were volunteers, and only a few states utilized limited conscription measures, meaning there was no large-scale lottery system. During the Civil War, the Union Army drafted roughly 400,000 men through the conscription process, although only about 47,000 of them were actually forced to serve. And due to the widespread use of substitutes and commutation fees to avoid service, so I guess you could pay to get out of service at that time. So, for 1917, the first national conscription system was created, authorizing the draft of men between ages 21 and 31. This was expanded to include ages 18 to 45. Men registered with the local draft boards where they were assigned a serial number. Draft numbers were chosen through a lottery system, with the selected men being called up for service. During World War I, approximately 2.8 million men were drafted in the United States, with around 24 million men registering for the draft overall, meaning that more than half the American troops who served in the war were draftees. At this time, we're going to select draftee number 3. Selection board. 7 of clubs, draftee. Yeah, you guys look way too happy. You're going to a MEP station, so they're kind of crabby there, so you just wait. Okay, 1940, World War II. This was actually pre-war, in preparation for World War II, because the war in Europe started in the late 30s. So the Selective Service Training and Service Act is signed, establishing the first peacetime draft in the United States. The draft was used to fulfill manpower needs during World War II. Over 49 million men registered for the draft. Around 10 million men were ultimately inducted into the military through the draft. A national lottery system was used to determine the draft order. During the Korean War, the United States Selective Service drafted over 1.5 million men between the war's start in June 1950 and the armistice in 1953. This number includes both directly inducted and volunteers who chose to serve the military during that period. The Universal Military Training and Service Act was passed by Congress in 1951 to manage the draft during the Korean War. While many were drafted, a significant number of men also volunteered for the service during this period, often choosing the Navy or Air Force. One thing about the draft, most of the people in the draft were Army or Marines. They needed people on the ground, so that's where pretty much all of them, I believe, correct? Okay. Vietnam War. During the Vietnam War, a person's draft number referred to a random number assigned to them through a lottery system, with lower numbers indicating a higher likelihood of being drafted. The most significant change during the Vietnam era was the implementation of this lottery system, where men were assigned a number between 1 and 365 based on their birthday, the lowest numbers being called first. American men were drafted into military service between 1964 and 1973. 1973, the all-volunteers force was established, ending the draft. And today, men between ages 18 and 25 must register for the Selective Service in case the draft is needed again. So at this time, we will pick draftee number 4, Selective Service. 5 of hearts. Wipe that smile off your face. You might have to give him a pass. Yeah. A couple extra push-ups in boot camp, I can see that already. No, he can go. Yep, he can go. No, he can go. We're just having a little fun with him. So. Oh yeah. Oh, okay. Wrong one. Okay. Mike, did you want to describe the draft a little bit with the number system or not?
On December 1st, 1969 is when they introduced the draft number system. Before that, nobody had a number. They called us up, we went. Anyway, after that, like he mentioned, like Dale mentioned, it went according to your birth date. If your birthday was August 15th, you were number 1, chances are you were going to service. If you were December 15th, number 350, you had a good chance of getting by it. Approximately 100 to 125 numbers were actually drafted. The rest of them were exempt. And that number went back from that December of 1969 to 1944, I believe it was. Everybody on their birthdays had the same number until 1969. And every year after that, they would draw again in December. That's why it changed every year after that until the draft was done away with.
Thank you, Mike. All right, at this time, we're going to pick draftee number 5, selective service. 7 of spades. All right, at this time, we've got our 5 draftees, and we're sending them on up to the MEP station here. So we got, hang on just a second, I got to get the name right here. All right, I need our inductees our draftees to take their chairs and turn 90 degrees to the right. Face the audience. And we've got Dr. Wacko and Nurse Patty. Oh, Dr. Waco. And Nurse Patty to induct them into the MEP station. The MEP station stands for Military Entry Processing Station. That's where you first go when you join the military, whether you're drafted or you volunteer. You go down to Milwaukee to the MEP station, they take you on in, you fill out a bunch of paperwork, then you got to go through some physical exams. Okay? And usually, doctor, did you want to start with the first flexibility exam?
Welcome, recruits. The drill instructors are really breathing down our necks. They need recruits soon. We are going to do an abbreviated physical. We're not going to do all the things we normally do. It's going to be abbreviated. What we'll do is we'll call you one by one, have you come up here. We're going to do the eye exam, a flexibility exam, and a hand exam. And then see if you pass all these, we'll get you into the branch of service. All the branches are looking for their recruits. Army, the Navy, the Air Force, the Marines, the Coast Guard, they all need you to get in your uniforms. First eye exam. 2 of spades. And it takes a stand right here, please. My nurse, my medicine nurse, Nurse Patty, is going to conduct the eye exam. Close one of your eyes. Can you tell me how many fingers Nurse Patty is holding up? Close the other eye. How many fingers? Sit up. Next.
Congratulations, you passed your eye exam.
9 minutes. Same thing. How many fingers is Nurse Patty holding up? Close the other eye. Okay, pass. Sit down.
Excellent.
7 clubs. 7 clubs. How many fingers? Close the eye. How many fingers? Pass. Sit down. Who we got next? Where's the card?
Gotta have your ID. Gotta have your ID on you at all times.
5 of hearts.
ID and dog tags are on you at all times.
How many fingers? Close the other eye. How many fingers? You pass. Take a seat. Who we got left? Last recruit. 7 of spades. 7 spades. Close one eye. How many fingers? Close the other eye. You pass. Take a seat. Flexibility. The whole group is going to do flexibility. The whole group, all recruits, please stand. Do you know where your toes are? Do you know where your hands are? Take your hands and touch your toes. You all pass.
Flexibility, excellent.
A hand exam. Do you
Raise it high in the air.
Really high. Point like this. Now do this. What do you think, nurse? They all passed. That was the trigger exam. You can't pull the trigger.
Trigger finger, excellent. Congratulations, recruits. You all passed.
I shall report that all recruits have passed and that they have the ability to go to selected branches. How should we select a branch? Should they select their branch?
Well, let's see. We're going to have to do by size and by gender here today. So,
What's the need?
well, the need is they need to fit. So, what we're going to do is we're going to take this young man and we're going to put him in Army combat uniform. ACU uniform, Army combat uniform. Slide that out. All right. Then next, like I said, just for fit purposes here, let's see. Tammy, which one's going to fit the Air Force uniform better? They both will, huh? Yeah, we can do, let's see. Let's see. Let's skip. Exactly, I hear you. I hear you. I tell you what, the new Navy uniforms now, the females can actually wear naval uniforms now, the actual Cracker Jack jumper uniforms, like this. So, that one's for you. You gotta put a white t-shirt on and stand up. Let me get you, try that. White t-shirt on. All right, so that leaves 3 left. Let's see here. We still got this Army. Yeah, we actually got another vintage Army here too. Let's see. Yeah, that vintage Army one. Who's that going to fit better? I'll let you pick that out, Doc. That's your specialty. Oh, let's see. There you go. And you young lady are going to be Air Force. Okay. And last but not least, you get probably the most coveted one of all. So while the uniforms are getting all put on here yet, do any of the students have any questions for the veterans? Yes, young lady. Why do we have to have the table up there? That's our table where the doctor works off of, for the military entrance processing station. Any other questions? Students? Yes, ma'am. Pretty much a medical exam. They have to do, there's some psychiatric type things and stuff like that too, family history things, if there's hardship in the family, things like that. The ASVAB test, they have the ASVAB test, which is the Armed Forces Service Battery Test. It's basically a knowledge test, and then they take that ASVAB score and they can rank it into different job fields and stuff like that. So that factors in when you go to the MEP station, because when you go to the MEP station, you actually pick out your job field and stuff too. So back in the day with these guys here, with the Marines and the Army guys getting drafted, that they pretty much were foot soldiers. So that's, there wasn't a whole lot of option for these guys here. So any other questions from the students while we're getting all dressed up here? Where's my dog tags, by the way? Anybody got my dog tags? Told you I needed them back. Just hand them on down if you could, please. Them I gotta have, so thank you. Oh, Mom's got them. We're good. All right, so we got our draftee number 1. We've got, what's on your uniform? How come you got anchors on a Army uniform? Yeah, he's got anchors. He's got Navy anchors on an Army uniform. Well, that's actually my uniform from Afghanistan. So they took a Navy chief, they put him in an Army uniform, and then they had me working for the Air Force over there. So then they wonder why I'm a little messed up. But people used to look at me a little bit because I had my Navy patches in my hat. I had my Navy "Don't Tread on Me" patch on my shoulder. Stand up here, recruit. So this is the Army ACU uniform, Army Combat Uniform. Got the patrol cap. It's got the name tag on the back. This is the NATO patch from Afghanistan. This is the flag that we wore when we traveled. When we were in country, we actually had the infrared patch that we put on our shoulder. That one came off, and we put an infrared patch on our shoulder. And then it's got all kinds of pockets. The military nowadays with the uniforms, you don't sew patches on anymore. Everything's Velcro. So I don't know why, when you're in the field, get that sound. It's kind of noisy a little bit, but that's our Army Combat Uniform. Then this young lady here has the Air Force Tech Sergeant? Staff Sergeant's patch on it. I should know that. I work for the Air Force for her. But anyways, she's got the beret on. She's got got her dog tags on. The first thing that goes on is her dog tags. You wear your dog tags all times? How come your dog tag's not on? There you go. I feel better now. And we've got the vintage Army dress uniform from 1965, 66 to 67. So we've got the Purple Heart ribbon. Boy, I've only been here for 10 minutes. You got hurt already. So, but this is the vintage Army uniform from the mid-60s. So, and then this young lady here, as I mentioned before, we have the new uniforms for the Navy females. They actually do wear the dress blue, what we call a Cracker Jack jumper uniform, and she has got the electronics technician job rating badge on her and stuff like that. And they actually do wear the covers called the Dixie cups, the Navy white hat. And this young gentleman, Sergeant Jacobs, he's standing pretty proud there too. I would too. A uniform like that, heck yeah. But he's got the Marine Sergeant uniform on. This is actually Phil Simonson's, and it actually fits him pretty good for the most part. So what we're going to have you guys do, we're going to march you guys down to the back of the church so that the community can see you too. So you guys come on over, left face. Ready? Column right, march. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. Edgar community, here's your draftees. Up, 2, 3, 4. Stay in step, stay in step. You don't stay in step, you got push-ups to do. Lots of them too, trust me. I know. All right, go ahead, stand by your chairs if you could. My first day in boot camp, we got up at 4:30 in the morning. We had this open bay bunker or barracks, and there were like 40 racks on each side or whatever. And about 4:30 in the morning, there's these 2 steel garbage cans that get thrown down the middle of the thing. That was our wake-up call. And this guy really crabby. I don't know, maybe he should have slept in, but he always hollered at us. But, they marched us to breakfast, and last guy in breakfast had maybe 2 minutes to eat. Then he took us for our first haircut. And it didn't matter if you stood in the back of the line or not, because they still got you. So first one was free. The rest of them you had to pay for. So anyways, I'm going to have these guys sit down. We're going to get a picture with you guys in a minute or two. I want to do a couple minutes for question and answer. Any of the students got any more questions for the veterans? Yes, miss. Here? These here are, the question from the student was, what are these here? These are our award ribbons. When you're in the military, you get different awards. Some awards are for just being in the military. Some awards for where you served. Some awards are for good conduct and service. So these are different awards, and there's actually medals that go with these awards too. So sometimes you see folks wearing these big medals. So there's corresponding medals to all of these ribbons also that you can wear. So, yes, sir. MREs taste good? Yeah, some of them do. Yeah, some of them do. You know, there's a few that, you know, the chiclets in there are really good. But, you know, but some of them are not too bad. So, yes, miss. It all depends where you're at. Regular day, there is no regular day, but normally you're up early. Doesn't matter where you're at, you're up early. 5 in the morning, 5:30 in the morning, whatever. Breakfast is at 5:30 to 6:30 maybe. Report for duty by 7, depending. It all depends on the duty station, it depends where you're at. When you're at boot camp, it's 24/7, so it doesn't matter. So you don't get much sleep. And you got a lot of people down your throat, and you got a lot of physical fitness stuff. So because they need you physically fit, you know, you got to stay in shape. So let's see, what do we have for questions? Young lady back here. Is there a certain amount of years that you can work in the military? Yes, you can. When you sign up for your original outfit, you actually sign a contract. You can sign up for 4 years, you can sign up for 6 years, which means that you promise to serve for that number of years. But you can serve in the military up to, well, Colonel Mishka served for 40 years in the United States, or Wisconsin Army National Guard. So I did over 28 in the Naval Reserve. Some of the other folks here, you know, did their 2, 3, 4 years, and then they got out. So it all depends, you know, if you liked it or not. At the, you know, time for some of these guys, they were ready to come home. So yes, miss. How long do we have to serve? Basically, as long as you can with your contract and stuff. So, any other questions from the students? Otherwise, we're going to get a group photo here with our inductees here with the veterans. And once again, I want to thank the students in St. John's for a wonderful program today. Dr. Waco. Waco, sorry. And I want to thank all the folks that in the back of the church that hung around today. We hope it made it a little fun for everybody. So, thank you, everybody.
This concludes our program. Any community members are welcome to leave. Just a note that we live streamed the program today, so you can find it on our St. John's Church YouTube page. So if you have any other veterans in your life or family that you would want to see the program, you're certainly welcome, and we would welcome you to do that. Thank you.